Hey YouTube, welcome back to the Obi Thorn Alliance. What are you doing today, Jacob?
Discussing about reboots, are they worth it or not?
Yes, so stick around and see what we think about reboots. So what's prompted you to want to chat about reboots, Jacob?
Well, they're making a Harry Potter reboot and a Twilight reboot.
So today we're going to focus on that specifically. Obviously there's been lots of reboots with movies and summer sequels as well. It gets a bit confusing, but we're going to focus on those predominantly. So what have we heard about Harry Potter so far? Let's start there.
They're making 7 seasons and obviously they're recasting all the main characters, and the director or the people involved want to make everything more diverse and colour diverse and everything like that. And with Twilight, don't know as much, but it's made by Irongate.
Yeah, so Twilight seems to be very, very early stages, so there's not a whole lot of information. I think they're going to try and revamp it for a newer audience, make a TV series like the Harry Potter is. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes in line with however many movies there were. So back to Harry Potter, what are your thoughts on it?
Part of me is excited, but if I do have to be honest, I'm a little afraid that it'll mess up for people that are big fans. I'm in the middle. I'm a fan of Harry Potter, but part of me is like, do we really need this reboot so soon? It's only been 10 years since the original movie's finished, and I gotta be honest, it feels like, I don't want to say a cash grab, but it feels like they're doing it when we only just finished off the original movies.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a cash grab's the first thing that comes to mind. When I first heard this, I thought this is really silly. I don't think you should redo that. Don't mess with something that's been, well loved and well received like Harry Potter. But the more we've been talking about it, the more I've looked into it, I think it will be good. I think it really will be. Does it need to be made? No, not at all. But if it gets made, I'm going to watch it. Would you watch it?
Yes.
Yeah, so, it kind of achieves what it wants. We'll get to watch it. We'll get caught up in it, and we'll keep watching it. Again, you can go, we can't replace Daniel Radcliffe or Emma Watson. Like, why bother? But the reality is, if they bring it out and they do a good job, people are probably going to watch it. So maybe it is a good thing.
Yeah.
But, a cash grab does come to mind. Do you think it would be better if it was delayed and brought out, more than 10 years after the original series?
I think so. It'll feel a lot more earned, and maybe for new people getting into Harry Potter, they can enjoy it more.
Yeah, I think Harry Potter, bringing out so soon, you're kind of getting the same audience again, opposed to, if you bring it out a little bit longer, wait a little bit longer, you might be getting a whole new audience. They've probably done their research and it can work. I'd be fairly confident they're going to do a good job, which makes me excited about it. And, I probably will get over the idea that they're recasting all these characters again. They've done it with, if we move to the world of movies, we've seen, in my lifetime, I can at least think of 3 versions of Spider-Man, and I'm fine with that, so they can do it. Yes, they cleverly linked it all together in the most recent Spider-Man movie, but beyond that, you just accept, this is another origin story, another telling of something. I was skeptical of the Batman, and that was probably the best movie I saw all of last year. So do you feel the same if you compare it to something like the Batman?
Yeah, I hope they cast well. We were having discussion about how they're gonna fit in with the season times with the actor's age. Like, they're gonna have to delay. Normally, seasons of something come out within a year or two. Like, the process is gonna be harder because they're casting younger people.
Yeah, I think they're probably gonna have to bring it out, I think, quicker, because characters will age too long. If you've got 7 years to do it, usually the actors are older than the person they're portraying. So if Harry Potter's meant to be in the first movie,
I think 13 or
14. Yeah, you go like 13, 14, it's by the time they finished filming, if they did 1 season a year, we're looking at him being around 21 years of age, which is far too old to be still at school. So they're probably going to have to, and then in saying that, if he's meant to look 14, the actor's probably 16, and then he's going to be 23. So they're going to have to be pretty strict, because if they take it too long, the actor might be 30 by the time they bring out the last season. It's just not going to look right. They can, de-age people through technology, but I think they got to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
You got any ideas for some casting choices you'd make?
First that comes to mind for Severance is Snape is Adam Driver. That just comes to mind.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of talk online of other people saying the same, that he'd be a perfect young Snape. And I would have really liked to have seen a spin-off about Snape, because Snape is quite a big part of the Harry Potter franchise. But, you know, we're instead getting a whole new show, and I think he'd be a perfect choice for casting. Obviously, he's a great actor, and he looks the part. You know, I must say, he's kind of perfect to do it, so... Moving to Twilight, you haven't seen much of Twilight?
Only just the first movie.
So I saw all of Twilight. I'm not going to say it was amazing. It was definitely more tailored towards a young female audience, but I did enjoy it. I think that this will work better than Harry Potter.
That's, I guess, a fair call, because there's more fan pressure on Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's probably my first reason why I think. Or maybe it's because I like Harry Potter more. I'd be more disappointed if they got that wrong, or if they get Twilight wrong, wow, you know, it didn't hurt me so much. But if someone's a massive fan of Twilight, they might get more offended. But Twilight's very lovey-dovey, and that's why it attracts a certain type of audience. So I think doing it as a series and expanding on that, the love story and what goes on with that, the love triangle between Bella, Edward, and Jacob, if we have those three, I think you could expand that well in the show. Harry Potter is going to have to find other areas to expand it where you can push that out with that. I think it works more because it's more tailored to a TV show or a drama. And shows like The Vampire Diaries come to mind, so that's the kind of stuff you're going to get out of it, where Harry Potter, very dicey whether they can get it right or wrong.
How many seasons do you think they'll make out of Twilight? Because I believe there's 4 to 5 movies of Twilight.
I reckon they could probably do more series than movies. In that instant, I think that could work. I don't think the first 2 or 3 Twilights were very long, so I think they could expand on those. Harry Potter, I think they got to stick to 7 series. There's a long commitment to some. Most shows don't go that far. They talk about whether if you can get things like 6 seasons in a movie, you're like doing really well as a TV show. So to get 7 on top of the fact you already had 7 movies is pretty massive. So yeah, I reckon probably if there's 4 or 5 movies, 6 series, 7 seasons for Twilight as well. Or maybe even the opposite, they might shrink it. They might focus less on the actual events of Twilight and more on the love story and kind of build around it. I'm not sure. It's very early stages for Twilight.
And we also did research of other projects that have been made from movies into shows. Scream was originally... Their show had nothing to do with the movies.
Yeah, so I've seen, I reckon 90% of the show, and I've seen every movie multiple times, and I really like Scream, but the show was quite a disappointment. Quote me if I'm wrong, people out there have seen it, but from memory, it was not related to the show. It was I think it was set in the same place, but you know, there'd been murders in the past, and then there was like a dark history around it, and then, you know, someone was starting to recreate the murders and wear this mask, but it wasn't in the same universe as the movies. Like, they didn't cross over, they didn't have characters that crossed over, they didn't recast characters, they didn't have the same names. The actual ghost face mask looked completely different as well. So that comes to mind as reimagining a franchise that already exists, and it didn't work, let's be honest, but I think Harry Potter's and Twilight's, you know, got a bit better source material than Scream does. I mean, there was heaps of other shows that came from movies you didn't think of, like MASH. Didn't know that was a movie originally. Yeah, Clueless. I remember the Clueless movie, but there was a Clueless show as well. Yeah, the list goes on and on. So they had Cobra Kai on this website we looked at, which to me, that's just a sequel.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's a reimagining of the original, because you've got the same cast members and they play themselves, so it's not a remake at all. Yeah, there's been lots of that. Would you rather see spin-offs than reboots?
That's a good question. I was kind of thinking the same. Should they have made, instead of what they have done, should they have made like what Wednesday did, a story evolving around a character or something like that?
Yeah, I like the idea of that. I haven't seen Wednesday, but it's well received, and it's a bit different than Harry Potter, but you know, you've taken a character and given them a spin on their story, or an origin story, or a sequel to their story, whatever it is, but you haven't gone, we're just going to recast the Addams Family and do it again, which I think that could work as well. The Addams Family's old enough now that redoing it's fine. But Harry Potter's, you know, a different beast than that. But it has worked in other instances going that spin-off realm. Like, I can think of a show I'm watching at the moment, How I Met Your Father, is a spin-off of How I Met Your Mother. There is crossing over, and you do see characters from the original, and that's cool. It's a spin-off. You haven't gone, we're going to retell the exact same story, but this time it's going to be a female playing Ted, and it's going to be the same ending, but we're just going to tell it from a different perspective. Instead, it's a spin-off. You know, it's different characters in the same universe. I really like that. I think as a fans of a show or a movie, getting spin-offs, you know, builds onto the love you've already got.
Yeah.
Like, how would you feel if they were to, you know, redo all of Star Wars again? Like, would that be a good thing or a bad thing?
I would prefer them telling a new story that they haven't done.
And what we've been seeing with
Ahsoka.
Yeah, Mandalorian, we've got Andor, and then Andor ties in with Rogue One, which is, I reckon, one of my favourite Star Wars movies, and it's just a side story that gives context to the main story, and it expands the universe. Cobra Kai we both really love because it expands the original franchise. Creed expands Rocky. They didn't remake Rocky. They just did it with someone else in the same universe. That works better.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. What would be some ideas you'd have for Harry Potter? So what, a Snape spin-off?
Yes.
Cool. We kind of got that with Fantastic Beasts. Was any other characters you would have liked to have seen a bit more to, or a backstory? Or do you want someone unrelated, like other people that went to Hogwarts, you know, 100 years prior to Harry Potter?
I think a student, or maybe a show about the founding members of each house, seeing how they started, like Gryffindor, the houses, a show about that.
I think that would be good. I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy and I haven't completed it, but that is, you know, set in the same world as Harry Potter at Hogwarts, but many, many years earlier, and it's a fairly epic tale, and I'm excited and I'm enjoying it, and it's like, why can't you could just do the same? I know, I'm on the fence. So what's your final verdict? Do you think they should do it or they shouldn't? Are you excited for it or are you not excited for it?
Well, they're making it, but I'll watch it. But bottom line, I think they should do something else more creative. I don't personally think it's really taking a chance. They're doing the easiest thing that they could possibly do, but also doing something that they could disrupt the fandom and piss off people.
No, I'm pretty much in the same boat. I'd rather they didn't do it. I'd rather see new original content in the form of spin-offs or, you know, side stories or however they want to do it. But I'm going to watch it. And if it's good, I'm going to be glad they did it. But I would probably rather have seen the energy put elsewhere, because we ultimately know what happens in Harry Potter. So I'd rather them have spent that time building on and giving us something brand new, but take whatever we can get at this point.
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. As always, you're awesome. Like and subscribe. Bye-bye.